the 8 Rule 4, may I move, Mr. Speaker, jointly to allow me move this matter of urgent public importance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, good. Any seconder? Are we done?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, my name is Idem Unyime, member representing Ukanafu Noro Wonam Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as heavily moved by my colleague. I so second.
Thank you. So this issue of excess charge, is it still going on? We've had this problem in the 8th Assembly, the 7th Assembly. I thought we dealt with it. Is it still going on?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, good. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members,
You wrote it.
Once again, I'm Yusuf Adamugadi. I represent Panshinkake Kanam Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, this motion bordered on the need to investigate excess and illegal charges on bank accounts of both public and private institutions at various banks in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And Mr. Speaker, the House may wish to note that the roles of bank and banking sector, when properly managed and run in accordance with the banking ethics, while adhering to international best practices, arguably opens up the economy and it galvanizes the critical sector to production and wealth creation, thereby making the banking sector very pivotal to the economic growth and national development. Also note, Mr. Speaker, that as pivotal as the banking industry is to the economic development of any country, and coupled up with a tremendous growth in Nigeria over the years, supporting the federal government policy of ease of doing business, the experience of individuals, public institutions, and corporate customers of banks have been that of mixed feelings, as excess and illegal debits on account held by various customers in the name of bank charges have been very disturbing, at various charges ranging from ATM charges, account maintenance fees, card maintenance charges, SMS notification charges, token maintenance fees, to stamp duty fees, etc., etc. These have been the source of worries to customers across the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Further note, Mr. Speaker, that although the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has intervened on these issues on countless occasions, including the 8th Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, many of those illegal charges have continued unabated for a number of reasons, which include but not limited to the size of amount, logistics, and cost of following the matter through the conclusion, since the banks are aware that customers are not likely going to abandon their job and businesses to chase after what is considered as insignificant amount of money. Aware, Mr. Speaker, that while the banking industry is supposed to be a catalyst for economic growth and wealth creation, lack of transparency, Mr. Speaker, in the industry has made investment by local and foreign investors very unattractive due to the illegal dealings and meddling with depositors' accounts by Nigerian banks. Mr. Speaker, certain that the National Assembly, specifically the House of Representatives and other government institutions and agencies, are saddled with the responsibility of regulating the industry and protecting the interests of the general public. Being customer of those banks, are also victims of those excess and illegal charges by bankers. Mr. Speaker, worried that while we may choose to color or dress the language used to qualify the action of those banks by merely referring to it as excess charges, the reality remains that it is an outright stealing of customers' deposits by banks, and every hand must be on deck by any affected customer, including the House of Representative members, to seek redress in one way or the other, more so that we are supposed to protect the interests of the people that elected us into office. Certain, Mr. Speaker, that the House of Representatives, being a public institution and one of the three arms of government accountable for the use of taxpayers' money, prudence demands that the House commence an investigation of the activities of the account held in various banks to determine the extent of excess and illegal charges, if any, by the bankers, with a view to recover same in the interest of the House and in the interest of the people of Nigeria. Resolve, Mr. Speaker, 1, that the House Committee on Banking should liaise with professional financial consultants to investigate and determine the extent of excess charges on House of Representative accounts and other public institutions' accounts in Nigeria, including those of other customers held in various banks, to determine the extent of charges, if any, in the last 8 years. 2, that the House Committee on Banking should within 4 weeks report back to the House with recommendation for possible further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
And second,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Abbas Adigun. I represent the Southeast Northeast Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion moved by my Honorable Chairman of the Navy, Honorable Ganji. I so move.
Honorable Ganji, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the content of my submission is quite clear, but Mr. Speaker, I want to draw the attention of my colleagues to two major issues by highlighting them further. Mr. Speaker, decisions were taken on this matter, particularly during the 8th Assembly, where positions were taken by the House of Representatives. But Mr. Speaker, I have clearly pointed it out that those decisions were not implemented. And part of the reasons why we have problem with motion, why you see things keep on reincarnating and reappearing, is because of the enforcement either by the House of Representatives or by the agency of government that is responsible to do that. Mr. Speaker, if you run an account, you have alert, and you receive alert on daily basis, like I had mentioned, ranging from your maintenance of ATM. You may see those charges as insignificant, but if you put together those resources that is being collected by banks from even our farmers and package them together, you will imagine the kind of economic sabotage that banks in Nigeria are doing to the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, these activities of banks, if not checked, it is going to continue, and it is going to affect not only the people of Nigeria, including the National Assembly itself, that have accounts and other public institutions of government in Nigeria that maintains account with various banks. Deductions are made in volumes, in millions of naira, in other cases amounting to billions of naira. Mr. Speaker, it is my hope that since the content of the motion is quite clear, I expect my colleagues to do justice to this motion by allowing it to scale through, so that decision will be taken by the House of Representatives in such a way that will bring succor to the people of Nigeria, that will equally protect banks from siphoning taxpayers' money from various MDAs and departments of government that maintain accounts in different banks of the Federation. So, Mr. Speaker, this is why this motion came up, and I urge my colleagues to join hand with me by ensuring that the motion scale through. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
think it's very straightforward. The issue of charges has been a perennial problem. So those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. What was your prayer? What committee is it? What was your prayer?
I have two prayers, Mr. Speaker. One is that the House Committee on Banking should liaise with professional financial consultants to investigate and determine the extent of the charges, particularly on public accounts in banks, including that of House of Representatives, and report back to the House in 4 weeks' time, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Okay, matter will refer to the Committee on Banking. Any other? Somebody had approached me about an matter of urgent public importance. No, there's one more person. I can't remember who, but I don't see him here. So, Honorable Kakale, you can move in the absence of.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and our amiable Sadelkin Yauri. I'm Honorable Balarab Shehu Kakale Shuni, member representing the Ngishuni Bodinga Traitor. I'm from Sokoto, Birnin Shehu. Mr. Speaker, I rise under Order 8 Rule 4 to present a matter of urgent public importance on serious impediments in the concerted and rapid response efforts of the federal government to contain and deal with the grievous threats of Lassa fever and coronavirus, as well as other related matters. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Benru, yes, please go ahead. Bende.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Benjamin Zondo. I speak for the people of Makudi Guma. We are from Benue State. I also speak for the teeming unemployed youths in this hallowed chamber. I rise this morning to second the motion as moved by my colleague, Honorable Kakale. I so second.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Kakale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable colleagues, for allowing me to present this motion, which is on the serious impediments in the concerted and rapid response efforts of the federal government to contain and deal with the grievous threats of Lassa fever and coronavirus and other related matters in this country. I want the House to note that the Federal Ministry of Health inability to procure equipment, protective personal gadgets, and other laboratory and logistic equipment and services, reagents and drugs has been seriously hampered currently, and this noble efforts of the federal government to fight and contain coronavirus. The House to also note that the federal government having proactively provided and or released huge sums of money amounting to over 306 million naira for this massive effort. That even the basic protective equipment like face masks, thermal scanners and gloves are rapidly being depleted and going out of stock in the ministry. Also concerned that all procurement issues of the one to which the Ministry of Health has been mandated are going to another ministry, and in this case, Ministry of Agric, which is an outright violation of the Procurement Act and therefore illegal. That this House, in this steadfast resolve to always support the federal government in people-oriented programs, that the procurement powers be transferred back to the Ministry of Health, having been lost to the Ministry of Agric since the quarter of last year. We are very worried that this scenario has serious causes of inefficiency, delays, and corrupt practices in the system, putting millions of Nigerian lives and even the economy at risk and grievous danger. The motion seeks the House to resolve to urge the federal government to restore the procurement powers of the Ministry of Health with immediate effect, and to also investigate the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Finance, Health, and for the reasons for the violation of the Procurement Act, and that also the Ministry of Agriculture should concentrate on its other very important mandates of control of zoonotic diseases, animal public health, and veterinary services in the all-important collaborative effort with relevant MDAs to contain these highly infectious diseases and other health challenges, and to direct all the MDAs, related MDAs, to redouble their efforts in supporting the federal government in protecting the precious lives of Nigerians in the face of these unprecedented health challenges, and to mandate the committees on health, agriculture, and finance to ensure implementation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues.
Those in support of the motion, please, rather, those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Kakale, were you moving your motion or were you debating it? Oh, come, Alex.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's a straightforward motion to get the efforts of the federal government to fight Lassa fever and coronavirus having been spread widely across the globe, to protect Nigerians and get Ministry of Health on its feet and having all the necessary powers to quickly act and respond in these areas. Because currently, the issue of procurement going to another ministry, refer to a ministry, another ministry, in this case, Ministry of Agri, to get procurement approved, and having to do their own tender board meeting is taking weeks and sometimes even months before very essential equipment are acquired by NCDC, by primary healthcare, and by the Ministry of Health itself, and the port authorities to protect Nigerians and to deal with this epidemic of Lassa fever, coronavirus, and other diseases.
All right, I think this is straightforward. Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Let's move on. First business of the day is presentation of report of the Committee on Niger Delta Development Commission on the issue of the Strategic Revenue Fund of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. The total sum of 346,388,900,000 naira only, of which the sum of 22,388,900,000 naira only is for personnel expenditure, while the sum of 13,466,810,000 naira only is for overhead expenditure, while the sum of 4,083,007 kobo only is for internal capital expenditure, and the sum of 306,500,899,992 naira only is for development of projects for the service of the Niger Delta Development Commission for the financial year ending on May 31st, 2020. Standing in the name of Honorable Lubumi Tunji Ojo, Honorable Ojo is invited to present the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Lubumi Tunji Ojo. I represent the people of Akoko Northeast and Akoko Northwest Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the Sunshine State of Ondo. I rise to move that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Niger Delta Development Commission on the issue from the Statutory Revenue Fund of the Niger Development Commission, NDDC. The total sum of 346,388,900,000 naira only, of which the sum of 22,338,900,000 naira only is for personnel expenditure, while the sum of 13,464,700,000 810,000 naira only is for overhead expenditure, while the sum of 4,083,000,007 kobo only is for internal capital expenditures, and the sum of 306,500,899,992 naira only is for development projects for the service of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, for the financial year ending on 31st May 2020. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Any seconder, please. Honorable Kiruka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiruka Onyejocha. I represent the good people of the Isukwatu Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. I rise to second the motion as been moved by Honorable Ojo. I so second.
Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Ojo, you may lay your report. Honorable colleagues, the second business of the day is presentation of report of the House Delegation of the Parliamentary Union Conference of the OIC Member States 15th edition at Burkina Faso from 27th to 30th January 2020. Standing in the name of Honorable Mohamed Tahir Mongodo, Honorable Mongodo is invited to present the report.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Mongodo. I represent Martin Mumunon Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move that the House do receive the report of the House Delegation on the Parliamentary Union Conference of the Organization of Islamic Conference Member States, 15th edition held at Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso from 27 to 30 January 2020. I so move.
Thank you. Any seconder, please? Okay, Honorable Woodil.
Thank you very much. The speaker, my name is Engineer Muhammad Ali Woodil. I represent Woodil Garko Federal Constituency. I'm from Kano State. The Speaker, I rise tall to second the motion that Honorable Chief Wave Monguno should lay the report. I do second.
Thank you. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Mongodo, you may lay your report. Honorable colleagues, it gives me great pleasure to announce the election of Honorable Abubakar Yunusa Ahmed as the President of the African Region of the League of Parliamentarians for the Al-Quds. He was elected at the third conference of the League in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This also secures him a seat in the executive body of the League. This is a very important parliamentary league. Honorable Yunusa Ahmed, congratulations. Honorable colleagues, the first order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria and to make provisions, among other things, for membership and control of the profession of public administration and for related matters members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee on the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 20th February 2020. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Ado Dogwa is my name. Honorable members, I rise to move that the bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria and to make provisions, among other things, for membership and control of the profession of public administration and of related matters, HB 329, be read the third time. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move.
The deputy is not here. Okay. Honorable Woodil, can you please second?
Thank you very much. Once again, Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Engineer Mohammed Ali Woodil. I represent Woodil Garko Federal Constituency. I'm from Kano State. I rise to second the motion that the bill be read the second time. I so second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Elumelu, what was that? I thought you were trying to say something. Who was sitting down reading? No, he was standing now. What's up? Honorable Woodil was standing up. What are you saying? I don't say. Honorable Woodil, did you second the motion while sitting? Please stand, please stand. Okay. Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against me say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk, please read the long title of the bill. For those of you in the gallery, that was an internal joke in the house. You will not understand it, but we understand the joke. So don't worry about it. Go ahead, Clerk.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria and to make provisions for, among other things, membership and control of the profession of public administration and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read and passed. Bill read the third time and passed. Honorable colleagues, the second order of the day is commencement of a debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish Southwest Development Commission, charged with responsibility, among others, to receive and manage funds from allocation of the Federation account, including donations and gifts for the reconstruction and rehabilitation of roads, houses, and other infrastructural damages suffered by the region, and the need to tackle the ecological problems and any other related environment or developmental challenges in the Southwest states. And for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Olufemi Fakeye and 80 other honorable members. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 11th December 2019, and I invite Honorable Fakeye to move that the bill be now read a second time. Honorable Fakeye.
Right, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Femi Fakeye. I represent Ifedayo, Boluwadu and Ila Federal Constituency of Osun State, and I rise to move a bill for an act to establish the Southwest Development Commission, charged with the responsibility, and among others, to receive and manage funds from allocation of the federal accounts, including donations and gifts, for the reconstruction and rehabilitation of roads, houses, and other infrastructural damages suffered by the region, and the need to tackle.
We need a second time.
You need a second time. You are debating so quick.
Any seconder? Okay, Abbas, Tajuddin.
Right, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. I represent Zaire Federal Constituency. I'm from Kaduna State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Faki. I so second.
Honorable Fake, please lead the debate.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. I rise to move a bill for an act to establish the Southwest Development Commission charged with responsibility, among others, to receive and manage funds from the allocation of the Federation account, including donations and gifts for the reconstruction and rehabilitation of roads, houses, and other infrastructural damages suffered by the region, and the need to tackle the ecological problems and any other related environmental challenges in the Southwest, and for other matters related. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I consider it a duty, a privilege, a joyful thing to stand to move this bill on behalf of 79 other colleagues from across the different zonal arrangements that we have in Nigeria. And I move the bill on behalf of all of them because the Southwest is home to every Nigerian virtually. There is hardly anybody sitting here or under the sound of my voice, even hearing on television or on the radio out there, that will not relate to the Southwest. I will start by assessing or reviewing what was the situation at about the time of independence in 1960. The Southwest being the first point of contact by those who came for slave trade. It also turned out to be an opportunity for the Southwest to be the first of all the ethnic nationalities here in this country to come in contact with Western education. And then you had it, therefore, a situation that by the mid-1950s, even before 1960 when we had independence, the Southwest had embraced education to the point where around 1955-56, the government of Obafemi Awolowo, when it was Western region, started a program of mass primary school education for everybody. That was a very highly visionary move that eventually saw to the fact that the Southwest moved ahead and was able to be the trailblazer in many socio-economic aspects of life in Nigeria. Today, what I'm here to discuss and debate, if I could have a title for it, I would call it the reversal of socio-economic fortunes for the Southwest. What do I mean? At about the time of independence, the Southwest was virtually self-sufficient financially, even though it got its money from export of agri-produce. I remember that at that time, we had a lot of freedom because we were operating independent of each region. So the Western region was operating independent of the Eastern and of the Northern. And the West was in the forefront for produce exports, from which it made a lot of money. So much money that it became a net funder of the federal government. In other words, after meeting all its needs, I remember Chief Toye Kuka of blessed memory he was the crown agent for the West in London. After paying for all the exports that the region will need, the area that we now call the Southwest, back then it was called Western region, always had some leftover money to lend to the central government of Nigeria. Well, fast forward to independence, everybody was happy. Oh, now we have a new vista of hope for the entire 60 million or so citizens of the country. But it did not last. By 5-6 years thereafter, we had this war, which was, first of all, precipitated because the military took over in '66. I don't want to bore you with the history of the military takeover, but let me just say that that was the beginning of the end for the fortunes of Western region the way we knew it. And since then, it's been one issue or the other, because the country went on under the military to adopt a one-cap-fits-all kind of policy. We began to federalize everything. I'm going to read from my lead debate, where I'll tell you what the first things were that the Southwest was able to achieve, even from their meager earnings from agri exports. Number one, as far back as 1921, we had the first agri research station in Nigeria called More Plantation Today. That was started in 1921 as a region. And then by 1948, you had the establishment of the University of Ibadan. 1948. In '61, you had the establishment of the first TV station in Africa, which was later taken over by the federal government, and we now call it the NTA. Same NTA, which is now said to have the largest coverage in Africa. You also have this road safety that we call Federal Road Safety Corps today. It started in Ibadan, Oyo State, in the mid-70s. Today, it's now Federal Road Safety. From the mega produce exports, we had the first skyscraper in Nigeria, Cocoa House. It's still standing there. You have the first industrial estate in Ikeja. Now, all those things were the first, but the question is, what has become of them today? Honourable Speaker, and my colleagues, what is happening or has happened to the Southwest, we can argue, is happened to all other parts of the country. We thank God that the military came in, because we are still one country today. No price is too high to pay for the unity of this country. But then we are here as people elected to see to the socio-economic engineering of this country. And that is what this bill is all about. This bill is talking about what aspects of life could have been if there had been no military intervention. I guess we'll never know. But we know today some facts. Number one, the country of Nigeria needs a lot of re-engineering. And I want to encourage us to look at two aspects. Look at agriculture. Right now, we thank God for the fact that in August, the federal government shut down the borders. Otherwise, we'll still be feeding on imported rice and turkey and poultry aspects from Cotonou. Transportation today is a problem. That is why until recently rather, Okada was the taxi of choice for the masses. We need to have a situation whereby we can do things. Nigeria is a place of leadership in Africa. And so we need to take steps that will ensure that we can play that role honorably. And so today, I want to commend this bill to all members so that we can start, at least we can say, we were a part of lifting the finger to see to the re-engineering of the Southwest and therefore of Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Abbas. Honorable Abbas Tajudeen. Are you contributing? I saw you put it up here. Okay, Honorable Nasir Ali Ahmed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Nasir Ali Ahmed. I represent Nasara Federal Constituency and I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, indeed, this motion for the Southwest Development Commission is a motion that every member should support. I believe development in one region in the country is development in Nigeria as a whole. And wherever you go to within this country, you will find all the different tribes, ethnic groups living in that particular region. Mr. Speaker, I'm aware that the Northeast Development Commission was moved in the 8th Assembly. The Southeast Development Commission was also moved in the 8th Assembly. Now we have the Southwest Development Commission, and hopefully by the grace of God, we will also be moving for the Northwest Development Commission. So, Mr. Speaker, I wholeheartedly support this motion, and I urge this Honourable House to please support it. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to talk.
Thank you. Honorable Abbas Tajudeen.
Thank you, my Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Tajudeen Abbas. I'm from Zaria, Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. I would also want to lend my voice in support of this very important bill. I think if you look at history and the present circumstances, you find that every geopolitical zone in this country has one set of challenge or the other. And I think what is good for one geopolitical zone is good for another. So I strongly support that this bill should be supported by all members because it will bring more development to each and every geopolitical zone in this country. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Abbas. Honorable Sai.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai. I represent Local Okani Federal Constituency of the United States. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this bill on 3 grounds. One is that the Southwest is one of the biggest seaports in our country, that all articulated vehicles have virtually destroyed all the infrastructure in Southwest that links Nigeria. And if we really want economy to thrive in our country effectively, Southwest should be an area to develop infrastructure-wise. And that's why this bill is timely. Mr. Speaker, we also recall that during the time of June 12th, virtually notable infrastructure in Southwest was destroyed because of the upheaval. Mr. Speaker, those infrastructure must return for activities of economic to thrive. And we also need the integration of virtually all the zones. That's why this bill is timely. Nigeria is to develop economically. You need a better infrastructure in Southwest. And that's why I support virtually every point that the mover of this bill has deposited for us. Mr. Speaker, I believe that this bill should be passed with the speed of light it's required. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mongonu.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Munguno. I represent Marche Munguno Nganzai, Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, my argument for the support of this bill is against the background of the fact that what is good for the goose is equally good for the gender. Mr. Speaker, I will recall with deep sense of nostalgia when the bill for the formation of the Northeast Development Commission was brought before the floor of this House. It was passed unanimously without a single voice of dissent, purely as a result of the devastation occasioned by the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast zone of the country. And then the House, in its wisdom, decided that there is need for a special purpose vehicle that will be brought into being by force of law that will accelerate not only the development of the northeast, but to embark upon a Marshall Plan for the reconstruction and rehabilitation of the destroyed infrastructure as a result of the Boko Haram insurgency. Mutatis mutandis, yes. The same reason that brought about the formation of the Northeast Development Commission applies for the formation of the Southwest Development Commission. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, all of us know that Lagos continues to remain the economic nerve center of this country. While Abuja is the political nerve center, Lagos remains the economic nerve center. If Lagos is the economic nerve center, it presupposes that it is home to all Nigerians and to people all over the world. As such, it behoves on us to create a special purpose vehicle that will accelerate the development of Lagos, being part and parcel of the Southwest Zone, for the purpose of taking into cognizance its peculiar infrastructure needs that is brought about as a result of the fragile on the infrastructure in Lagos, which also is part of the Southwest. And then, from the argument of the sponsor of this bill, what triggered the sponsorship of this bill is as a result of the reversal of the economic fortunes of the Southwest, which is he enumerated in the form of the cocoa house, the agricultural revolution that has gone on in the Southwest, and which is reversed as a result of the federal system of government that we adopted. And there is need for us to develop a special purpose vehicle like the Southwest Development Commission for the purpose of bringing back the fortunes of the Southwest and, by extension, the fortunes of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as a whole. So against this backdrop, I support the second reading of this bill. Thank you. For the time.
Honorable Kiruka.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiruka George. I represent the good people of Ukwato, Umunoji Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, let me inform the leader of the House that I do not just want to speak in support of this motion, but to inform him that I am a co-sponsor of this motion. So we midwifed.
You are a co-sponsor of the bill. Okay.
No, it is obvious. No, we are saving her. We are saving her.
Mr. Speaker, am I protected?
You are protected for obvious reasons.
This bill is very important to me. Anyway, maybe they don't know I live in Lagos. And so when I told the chief whip to speak in favor of anything that concerns Lagos, and he just did that. So, and of course, last House, we brought Southeast Development Commission bill here. In that same 8th Assembly, we sponsored and passed a Northeast Development Commission bill. And honestly speaking, this call for infrastructural development, because I believe that all of us know that the best way to go at this critical point is for us to support ourselves from inside, because charity begins at home. We cannot just be talking about federal, because a good family will breed good community. Good community will bring good local government, from that to state and then to federal. So if we support the regions to develop, it will also amount to development of the federation. And like the chief whip has said, if not east develop, southwest develop, southeast develop, what it simply means is that Nigeria will develop. So it is based on this that when they brought this bill, I say I'm in support, because I also know that the House supported us on Southeast Development Commission bill. And I believe that since we have 6 regions, this is a wake-up call for all of us to bring our Development Commission bill for this House to pass, because we are going back to basics. The basic thing is for us to think outside the box. What do you do for your country, not what your country will do for you. At this particular time, we are calling on regions to begin to think about what they will do to strengthen their regions in order to strengthen the nation. And so on this note, and for obvious reasons that are so obvious, I support the second reading of this bill. I so submit.
You guys from Southwest, please put your hands down. Let other people fight your fight for you. You.
Mr. Speaker, colleagues, my name is Joe Robert Arna. I speak for the people of Twande and Oshobo. I am from Benue State. Mr. Speaker, while I see the strength of this bill, I differ on its going through for 2 major reasons. Mr. Speaker, the southwest of Nigeria is the beginning port of Nigeria. It is actually the region that holds this country strong. While we talk of development commissions, those commissions are meant to drag those parts that are behind for some reason of misfortune or war. Mr. Speaker, at this point in time, the Southwest is ahead of all of Nigeria. The commissions, if they are called development commissions, in the purpose for which they were formed, were to rehabilitate those parts that have injuries. Mr. Speaker, I differ on this bill. Don't do my own.
Honorable Buba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Yusuf Buba Yakub. I represent Gombe Home Federal Constituency from Adamawa State. Mr. Speaker, on a very serious note, I want to call the attention of my honorable colleagues to remember that in the Southwest, Lagos State was the capital of Nigeria in the past. And today, Lagos State is the commercial capital of Nigeria. So I believe strongly that Lagos State in the Southwest does not belong to any ethnic nationality or to a specific group of Nigerians, but it belongs to all of us. Because if we develop our commercial nerve center, a lot of revenues will be accrued, and those revenues does not go to Lagos State government, but to the Federation account. And it will help develop the revenue base of the country, which will be used to develop other states of the country. So by the time we put better infrastructures, for example, we are talking about port congestion. If the Lagos port is congested, it affects the economy of the whole country, not just the economy of the Southwest. So if we can put better infrastructure to make our ports, which is the gateway into Nigeria, very active and very conducive for business, it will definitely attract more investors into our country, and in the long run, give us more revenue to run the affairs of this country. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to support that the Southwest be considered to have a development fund so that we can develop our commercial lab center and attract more revenue for our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Mwauba, I'm aware you and your minority have personal and vast business interests in the Southwest and Lagos. So, yeah, you want to contribute? Honorable Mwauba.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Henry Mwauba and I represent the enterprising people of Mbitolu Ikeduru Federal Constituency of Imo State. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, by popular demand, I rise to lend my voice to this all-important and very timely bill.
Honorable Gandhi, Yusuf Gandhi, please approach the chair.
My dear colleagues, day in, day out, this House is presented with an opportunity to contribute to the national conversations that border on our development. Here today, yet again, we are presented with the opportunity to present a legislative solution to intervene in one of the critical regions as far as the development of Nigeria is concerned. I do believe and I know that it is recommended that Nigeria will develop together. But where we find regions that are making strides and are best positioned, it is our responsibility as responsible lawmakers to ensure that we speak up and aid that development. This is one of those bills and this is one of those opportunities. I think this is an idea whose time has come. I think not only should we pass this bill for second reading, we should hold our hands as a parliament and ensure that it goes through the full cycle of public hearing and also put pressure on the executive to ensure that the president accents to this bill, to making sure that we do have a development commission focused on advancing the developmental issues that will be articulated and outlined in this bill. I also want to lend my voice to some of my other colleagues' submissions that this bill should also be replicated in other zones of Nigeria. I so submit. Thank you very much.
I think we need to move on. Honorable Benson, you want to oppose? You want to oppose? Honorable Benson, do you want to oppose? Honorable Koko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and the Sadoki of Yauri. My name is Honorable Shehu Koko. I'm from Kebbi State. I represent the good people of Koko, Bese, Mayama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to lend my voice on the bill for the establishment of Southwest Development Commission. Mr. Speaker, on my opinion, I'm seeing this bill as the bill for Nigeria. Because anything that comes from Lagos, it affects Nigeria. Development of Lagos is development of Nigeria. This is started from the first university, from the first radio station, from the cocoa house. All this is spread all over the country. Of recent, Mr. Speaker, we copied from Lagos, we copied from Southwest. Everybody is taking this on side. That's why I'm trying to support this, to accept this, to believe this. That's the commission. When it's established, it's a commission for Nigeria, it's a commission for development Nigeria, it's a commission that will take Nigeria Southwest to the next level. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kakale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I stand to 100% support.
Please address the chair properly. If you don't know how to address the chair, ask Honorable Koko. If you don't know how to address the chair properly, ask Honorable Koko.
Sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Sadoki Yauri.
That's better.
Member representing the good people of Dengeshuni, Bodinga Traitor. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Sokoto, Bernisho. I stand to 100% support this all-important and necessary bill of the Southwest Development Commission. I will tour all through the line of Honorable Koko that this is a bill for Nigeria, sir. And beyond that, it's a bill for Africa and of course the entire black race. Because the development and prosperity of Nigeria is the development of Africa and of course the entire black race. It will interest a lot of us here to know that Nigeria's growth rate is at 2%, while our population growth is at 3.3%. That means every year, around 2.6 million Nigerians are born into poverty. And a country that is grappling with a lot of socio-economic and other developmental issues. This bill will definitely promote the comparative advantages, economic and otherwise, of the Southwest, so that as it grows and blossoms, the rest of Nigeria will definitely do so. I'm sure the Northwest and of course all other zones are already preparing very fast similar bills to make sure that Nigeria develops rapidly in the context of the human capital, mineral, and other agricultural resources that are strengths of each of these regions. The current system the current structure definitely has not fared for this country very well. For over 40 years that we have been practicing the current federal system as it is. We therefore want to use this opportunity to call on fellow members to please 100% support this bill, as other zones are also working hard to present similar bills for the benefit of the nation, for the benefit of Africa, and for the benefit of the entire black race. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chike, finish your business quickly.
Honorable Luga. Do you have a contribution? Honorable Luga. Okay, we'll move on. Honorable Luga, do you have a contribution to make? All right, let's put a question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for now to establish the Southwest Development Commission charged with responsibility to, among others, receive and manage funds from allocation of the federal accounts, including donations and gifts for the reconstruction and rehabilitation of roads, houses, and other infrastructural damages suffered by the region, and the need to tackle the ecological problems and any other related environmental or developmental change challenges in the Southwest states and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Justice. Third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education Technical in Osun State to provide for full-time courses, teaching instructions and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities and management, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Rashid Afolabi Olalekon. Our members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 27 November 2019, and now invite Honorable Olalekon to move that the bill be read a second time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Olalekon Rashid. Afolabi. I represent the entire people of Ifelo Domboripe, Federal Constituency. I'm from Osun State. With your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, and the support of the House, I move that a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education Technical Economics, Osun State, to provide for full courses, teaching, instructions and training in technology and applied sciences, arts, social science, humanities and management, and for related matters, HB 532, be read for the second time. I assume.
Honorable Ayedi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am Jimo Aremolaifa, representing Egbado North Imeko from Federal Constituency. I am from Ogun State. I rise to second the bill as presented by Honorable Rashid Afolabi. I shall second.
Honorable Afolabi, please read the debate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name remains Honorable Rashid Afolabi. I represent the entire people of the Federal in Federal Constituency. I am from Osun State. Thank you once again for giving this opportunity to lead debate on this bill. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I stand before you to crave your kind indulgence and support for the bill to establish the Federal College of Education Technical in Osun State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, education is said to be an organized mechanism through which society develops with human resources by equipping them with desirable knowledge, skills, attitudes, and value, which will enable them to operate effectively within the social institutions of a given country or a nation. Just as the human body needs nutrients for survival, good health, growth, and development, so does the mind needs intellectual enhancement and capability through the fiber of education. Nigeria, with a population of over 200 million, according to the latest United Nations statistics, the higher education sector is already overburdened by population growth, hence indirect need for more tertiary education institutions. Education is said to be the bedrock and catalyst for development of any nation of the world. No wonder the commendable policy of government is saying that each of the states of the federation at least has a minimum of one federal university, a federal polytechnic, and one federal college of education. As of today, Mr. Speaker, all colleagues, in Osun State, the federal government has a federal university in the name of Obafemi Awolowo University, located in Osun East Senatorial District, while the only federal polytechnic we have in Osun State is located in Nede, that is in Osun West Senatorial District. While there is no single federal tertiary institutions at all in Osun Central Senatorial District, which is one of the major reasons for proposing this Federal College of Education Technical Bill to be cited in Federal Constituency in Osun Central Senatorial District. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, dissecting the the Central Senatorial District where I come from, there are 3 federal constituencies embedded therein. You have the Shogu Federal Constituency, you have the Ifelulu, and you have the Federal Constituency. Out of all these 3 federal constituencies, Mr. Speaker, Oshogbo, which is the state capital, and the capital of the central zone, is also the only state universities. While in Bolipe, the other federal constituency has the state polytechnic, which is the polytechnic. While Ukuku in Odo, the federal constituency has a campus of Osun State University, leaving the federal constituency as the only constituency in the central district without any federal presence in the name of our institution. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, consider the fact on the ground, Mr. Speaker, that Osun State Central District does not have any federal presence, and in the spirit of fairness, geographical spread, and federal character, the proposed Federal College of Education should be cited in Ikirun, the headquarters of Federal Constituency. I so submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. House is adjourned till 18:17. Oh.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for now to establish Federal College of Education Technical Ikiru, Osun State, to provide for full-time courses, teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied science, arts, social science, humanities, and management, and for related matters. Second reading.
And that's all.